Dear third prep, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's Mr. Ahmed Mahmoud with you today to introduce a new mathematics lesson. Today, inshallah, we are going to start the statistics. The statistics is a mathematical analysis depend on data and numbers, and one of its tools is drawing conclusions. So we are going to use data and numbers. So we are going to collect this data and organize them, and we are going to draw them. Okay, the lesson today is unit 3, lesson 1. It's called collecting data. Collecting data is a way to teach us how can we collect data and the resources and the methods and the types of data. Let's start the lesson. First, we are going to learn what the meaning of the resources of collecting data. Resources of collecting data, or the ways to bring data. For example, if a teacher needs to know the students understand the lesson or not, this is collecting data, or this is a resource. The resource here is the students themselves. Okay, or if a company needs to know the CV of a person want to work on this company, this is collecting data, and the source here is the CV or the person himself. Okay, the first resource of collecting data is called primary resource. Primary resource, or the original resource, which we collect the data directly from the resource. Again, we collect data directly from the resource. Okay, which we get data directly. Okay, for example, if a person need to work in a company or a facility, and we need to collect the data about this person, so we may collect this data by using a personal interview. Okay, and here in the interview we collect the data from the person himself, so it is a direct collecting data, so it is a primary resource. Okay, another resource called questionnaire or the survey. The questionnaire or the survey is a paper included some questions about a main subject. Okay, it gives to the one who we need to collect the data from him. For example, sometimes we give the questionnaire to the students to ask them about the most or the best subject for them and the worst subject for them, and the best, for example, game for them, or the worst game for them. All of this called questionnaire. And in the questionnaire here we collect the data from the resource itself, so it called primary resource. Now I'm going to explain the second type of resources, which called secondary resources. In the secondary resources we are going to collect the data but indirect, so it called getting data that previously collected and registered by some authorities. For example, if we collect data before, okay, and try to take it in another time, then this is called a secondary resources. For example, the internet. If a person in another country needs to work in this country, okay, so we ask him about his CV. He can mail its CV during the internet. Then the collecting data here is indirect, is during the internet. Okay, then it called secondary resource. For another example, documents of data of employee in an authority or a company. For example, if a company needs or facility want to collect information about a person, so it may go back to the information registered previously in this facility, okay, to give me information about this person, this called secondary resource, because here we don't collect the data from the resource himself. We collect the data from the previous collected informations about this person. Then this one called secondary resources. Okay, the question here in the exam, he will ask me the resources of collecting data is what, then I will answer primary resources or secondary resources. If he asks me the questionnaire is called, then I will call it primary resources. If he asks me collecting data from previously collected or registered from some authorities, it called secondary resources. Now I explained the resources of collecting data, then I will explain the methods of collecting data. The methods of collecting data, the first method is called mass population. Mass population means collect data from the whole society. Okay, for example, if a teacher makes an exam and he need to collect the marks from the students, then he will ask every pupils about his mark, then this is called mass population, because here he collect the data from every pupil or from every student separately. Another example, in one day, if we need to know the absence inside a class, so we will call everyone by its name to know the who's present and who's absent in this day. This one called mass population. Okay, the mass population is study from all the individuals of the statistical society. All the individuals means everyone himself of statistical society. Static society means the group we collect the data from it. For example, if we collect the data inside class, then the society here is the class itself. If we collect data from the whole school, then the society here is the school. Or if we collect data from the whole country, then the people in the country is the society of this population. Okay, for example, the elections. The elections is a way to voting about a main subject. For example, if we need to choose a president inside a country, okay, then we are going to make elections. And the elections, everyone go to the box, a voting box, and put his opinion inside the box. He will select this one or not. Then this is the election. The election is called mass population, because in this one we ask everyone about his opinion. Okay, another example called census. Census is collect a number of population in a country during a main time. Again, census means collect a number of population on a country during a main time. If we need, for example, in Egypt, if we need to make a census inside Egypt during a year, for example 2010, okay, then we collect the whole number of people. This called census. The census is called mass population because we collect the data about the whole society. Okay, the second type of methods of collecting data is called sample. The sample is a study from a sample of society and applying the research on it. For example, what's the meaning of sample? If we have a great society and I need to make a research inside this society, okay, and this and very expensive to collect the data from the whole society or from all people, so I will make a sample or I collect a group from the whole society and ask them or make a research inside this group. Okay, another example, if we have inside a class if I need to ask pupils about their understanding, okay, so I may collect 3 pupils or 5 pupils, okay, randomly, and I ask them about they understand the lesson or not. This called a sample. Okay, for example, if a sample of a patient's blood to make some clinical checkup. For example, this one needs to make a checkup. Okay, so I can't take the whole blood of this person, so he will die. So here I'm going to take only a sample from his blood, okay, to make a research or examine this sample to know the disease or not. Okay, then this one is called a sample. I can't take, as I said, the whole blood from him. Okay. Now I'm going to study the types of samples. Okay, I mentioned the methods of collecting data, which is mass, population, and samples. Now I'm going to explain the types of the samples like this. The types of samples, the first type is called biased sample. What's the meaning of biased sample? Biased sample, that means that I collect the sample by myself, okay, with a way is not randomly. Okay, it means that we select the sample in a way to satisfy the objective of a research. Okay, for example, if a teacher needs to ask students about the understanding or not, then he will select some students with a certain condition, not randomly, to ask them they understand or not. Then in this case it is a biased sample because he know what he choose. Okay, then if he know what he choose, then it is a biased sample. For example, if we have this group and I see the whole group and I will select the society by myself like this, I will select this one and this one and this one. This is a biased sample because I selected them by myself and with a way not randomly. This is a biased sample. The second type of the sample is called random sample. Random is the opposite of biased. Biased, I select not blindly, but random sample means I selected blindly, without looking or without purpose. Okay, it means select a sample such that chance of getting any value from the society is equal. For example, if I need to make a test or a check inside the class and I choose 5 of the pupils blindly without looking who is I am looking for or who is I'm choosing, then this one is called random sample. Another example, if we have a bag and this bag included some balls and I need to collect a ball blindly without looking to the bag, then this is called random sample. So the random sample is selecting blindly, but the biased sample you are going to look and choose by yourself, okay, to satisfy the objective of the research. Okay, now I'm going to explain the random sample, okay, and the types of the random sample. Okay, the random sample, as I said, that you will choose blindly. Okay, we have here 2 types of the random sample. The first one is called simple random sample. Okay, its definition is it used for a homogeneous society. What does it mean? The homogeneous society means a typical sample or have the same properties. For example, if you select a girl from or a person from a girl's class, then it is a homogeneous class because all of them have the same properties, all of them are girls, then they are a homogeneous society. Or if you select a boy from a class of boys, this is a homogeneous society. Okay, another way or another example, if you choose a person from or a student from the third prep, this is a homogeneous society because they are all have the same age. If you select, for example, a pupil from the first prep, they are all a homogeneous because they are all have the same age. Okay, so the homogeneous means the society have the same property, have the same properties, and they are identical. Okay, the second type is called layer random sample. Layer random sample it used for a heterogeneous society. What the meaning of heterogeneous society? Heterogeneous means have different properties. For example, if I need to select a pupil from the whole school, here the school included pupils in a primary and prep and secondary. They are not the same, so it is a heterogeneous society. Okay, another example, if we have a mixed class, this mixed class included boys and girls, this is called a heterogeneous society because they are not the same. Okay, so the homogeneous means that they are all of them have the same properties. The heterogeneous means society included different properties. So if I need to select from the same properties, it is called simple random sample. If I need to select from a different properties society, it's called layer random sample. Now I'm going to solve some problems about this lesson. I know it is a very difficult definitions, but by here the questions will give us a confidence. Okay, and you are going to study the questions well to control this lesson. Okay, let's start the questions. Number 1 here. The resources of collecting data are, as I said before, we have two resources. They are primary and secondary. As you see, the question here is very easy. Okay. Number 2, a personal interview is what resource? As I said before, the interview is a very direct resource. Okay, so it is a primary resource because I collect the data from the source himself. Number 3, the data of students that are registered in a student affair is what? Because it registered before, then this one is called secondary resources because it is indirect. Number 4, direct observing is what resource of collecting data? Okay, direct is a primary resource. The suitable method for examining blood patient is what? This is what I hear to take a blood of the patient, I can't take the whole blood, so I will take a sample. The suitable method for checking the production of a factory. Also, the production of a factory, I can't take the whole production and make a test, so I will take a sample. Number 7, the suitable method to know the population. As I said before, to know the population we make a census, okay, but here it's called mass population. Number 8, the suitable method to know the ratio of absence in one of the schools, it's called mass population. Why? Because I will ask every pupils inside the school or inside the class about his presence. Example 2, choose the correct answer from the given. Okay, number 1, what is the secondary resource of collecting data? A personal interview or questionnaire or database of employee or observing and measuring. Here, personal interview is primary resource. Questionnaire is a primary resource. Observing and measuring, taking the information directly, is a primary resource. But database of employee is called secondary resource. The next. What is the primary resource of collecting data? Central Agency of Statistics, data of the school pupil in a previous year, questionnaire, data of employee in one of the companies. Okay, here he asked me about a primary resources or direct resources, which is the questionnaire, and I explained the questionnaire in the first of the video. Okay, number 3, selecting a sample of layers of statistical society is called. As I said before, layer of statistical society, layers which called heterogeneous. And if I need to select from a heterogeneous, this is a layer sample or class sample. And this is the end of the lesson. I hope it was helpful for you. See you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Mr. Ahmed Mahmoud was with